There goes me spray glue. That's going to be a pain to actually clean up because it's just gone all over my diesel heater, all over my water pump. There's loads of videos out there of how to sound deaden and insulate your camper van. But this one, we're going to go through all the mistakes I made previously and how you can do it just that little bit better. We've got to sound deaden, insulate our entire camper van, and we're going to use all the mistakes that we found out through stripping out our old van. We had loads of little patches that were a little bit damp or a little bit wet, and we found out why those areas were damp and wet. We're going to change that in this video. First of all, you're going to need 9 products. I think it's 9, you might need one more, I don't know, let's show you. Just here is everything I'm going to use, everything I am in the middle of using, because as you can tell, I've already started it. Now that's just to show you the process as we go along. You can see the different levels and so on and so forth. So you start off with the sound deadening. Now the sound deadening, believe it or not, everyone says it needs to go all over the van and everywhere. Well, that's what I did on my previous van, but it didn't help. It didn't do any sort of thermal barrier. Once you've sound deadened your van, no matter how much more you put onto your van, it's going to stay the same level of sound deadened. There's no point in adding all that extra weight. You just have to add as much sound deadening as the van needs. They recommend 1/3 of the open panel is how much sound deadening you need. Take for instance this panel right here. I still need to clean it up. This panel just here is the original sound deadening that come from VW. All I've done is added that little tiny square more. That's all you need. You can see this panel on the roof just here. All I've added is that one piece just there, another little piece there, and another little piece there. You don't need to go over the top. Same for these pieces on the side just here. All I've added is a piece going across there, or a little piece in the middle just there, or even down here, just little pieces, little pieces. You don't need to go overboard. If you do go overboard and your van ends up overweight, you're driving down the road, you can avoid yourself a fine just by doing this to start with. Now, because on this camper van we are going a high-end quality. Now, we've done all different processes. So on our very first micro camper van build, we used all the cheap stuff that you could get off eBay, and it worked great for a little day van or something like that. You don't know how good the Dodo mat stuff is until you've actually used it, and it's mind-blowing. Dodo mat now have 3 different varieties. So you've got the Dodo mat Easy, which is the budget version. You've got the middle version, which is Dodo mat, and then you've got Dodo mat Pro. The one I'm doing right now is the Dodo mat Pro. We'll explain all individual details throughout the video, but this one is called Dodo mat Pro Deaden, and it's just the 2mm. It's the black thermal line. This is the black sound deadening. It's like a rubber material. It's self-adhesive, so you literally just pick it off just like there. Actually, I'll show you a panel right now. This piece I'm going to put on is probably a bit too big for where I'm going to put it, but I'm doing it all one-handed to be able to show you. Now, it's not just a case of slap it into place. Let's get it into there. This is way too big for this piece just here. Now, it's not just a case of, oh look, that'll do perfectly fine. That's not good enough. Let me explain to you this tool, and you can use something like this as well. This is like a sort of velvet wrapping tool. Anything that can really push that Dodo mat into the actual crevices of the panel. Let me show you just up here. See up the top there, it's not exactly touching the roof. We noticed when we pulled a panel off from there on the original one, there was a load of moisture built up in there because there is no thermal barrier, no sound deadening, nothing touching the outer skin. So if you've got something like this, now this is the Dodo mat roller. You can literally roll it into place just like that, and it sticks up, stretches the material, gets it into all those little nooks and crannies perfectly fine. I'd highly recommend you get something like that just to be able to get it into all those little areas. This sound deadening is the hexagon sort of rubbery material, but the whole purpose of this is to take away all of the panel vibration. Do you know when you hit a panel on the outside of a van, it goes dong? Well, now with this, it's just going to go dump, dump, dump. Whereas that one, you can definitely hear the difference. You've just got to make sure you get it on in all the little areas. Through sound deadening this entire van, this is my second box and I've got just over half of the actual sound deadening left. So I've used about a box and a half. By the time I've finished sound deadening all down there and a bit of the roof just up there and the roof at the very back of the van, because I can't do that bit just yet because the van's going in to have some accident repair done soon. All said and done, it would probably go for about a box and a half of this Pro sound deadening. So the 2mm stuff. There's a couple of little tools that you can use to help cut it. It's very versatile, so you can just cut it into whatever sort of shape you want. I may talk quite highly of Dodo mat. It's just solely because I used it once as a sort of let's try it, see what it's like, and it blew my mind, so I decided to stay with it. On top of the sound deadening, we've got this stuff just here. This is the thermal liner. Now you can get it in loads of different sizes depending on what sort of size you're going for. This is the Thermal Liner Pro. It comes in that box just there, the Thermal Liner Pro. Now this one is the best you can get. It's 10mm thick. It's a closed self foam with a reflective edge and it's self-adhesive. Now when I was stripping out my whole van, now I had the middle range one on the van previously, and I noticed all the areas that I missed, all the exposed bare metal areas to the outside elements. Let me show you. Take for instance this piece just up here, so this piece here. Now on the previous van, if I would have had a section just like this, it would have condensated all up there and just dribbled down. It would have gone through the little crevices up in there, down the inside. That little area would have been soaking wet. But again, you've got all these little grooves in the van all over the place. That's where the tools like this come into handy again. So you just put it on and really push it into all the areas. With it being self-adhesive, it will stick itself down really, really well. Back to the problem that I had originally up in this corner, where I had the sound deaden, just like this stuff, was peeled away. And then I had little gaps just like up in there. Now I put the thermal liner straight over that, but that piece under there had nothing attached to it. Even though the sound deaden was over it, it wasn't actually physically touching the metalwork. That area up there was extremely wet. So this time I'm forcing it up in there on the sound deadening and then going over again with the thermal liner. All these bits just in the middle sort of there. Now I just packed them with a little bit of sound deadening and then just loads of the fleece over the top of it. However, now you can see I've gone thermal liner. That's because behind those areas was soaking wet because I didn't have the thermal liner. So make sure you can get it into all the little areas. Again, make sure there's no cracks between them. So now when I thermal liner this section, I'm going to go right up to the edge of all of them. Same goes behind all these panels, these panels, these panels. Any panel that you can physically get the thermal liner to, get it in there. Yeah, that's me speaking from experience. The last thing you want to be doing is sat in your camper van in the middle of winter where it's freezing outside and warm inside because you've done loads of the fleecing, the warm's staying inside the van, and then all of a sudden droplets start appearing from these overhead areas. Now because this is the 10mm version, on my last van I think I had the 6mm version and I only went through 2 boxes of the stuff. Because it's 10mm, it doesn't actually fit the same amount inside the boxes, so you get a little bit less distance. I've got 4 boxes. It's going to absolutely cover the inside of this van. On top of those panels just there, we've got the same stuff you can see just up there. That's the Dodo thermal fleece. It comes in a box. I've got 5 of these to do the whole inside of this van, and I've already gone through a couple of boxes doing all underneath the garage area, as you can see all the way under there. That's all sound deadened, thermal lined. It's got the fleece on, it's ready for boarding, but it comes in bags just like this. There goes me spray glue. That's going to be a pain to actually clean up because it's just gone all over my diesel heater, all over my water pump. This is why you need to clean up when you're actually, whilst you're moving around. It's all over my legs and my new jogging boots. Oh, look at that. Oh, you can't really see it. There you go, look. Oh, no way, all over my nice shoes and everything. Oh well, we just class it as a lesson learnt. Look. There's the tiny little hole, so it's basically just dropped off there straight onto the floor, and now everything's sticking to my feet. Right, whoopsie daisy. It went all over me prep spray by Dodo. So what that is, that's a degreaser. It just removes old adhesive. It degreases the old metalwork before you stick anything to it. Just cleans the area, make sure you've got a really good adhesion to the actual material. But yeah, that needs cleaning too. I have a feeling that's going to come in handy when I'm clearing up this mess. Anyway, the Dodo thermal fleece. So this is made from recycled bottle plastic. It's just plastic bottles that have been recycled into a thermal fleece. You know, like the old fiberglass stuff you get in your loft insulation, but without the itchy factor. It's got a great R rating, so it does thermal barrier through the actual van. So this stuff, no, we'll start again. This stuff, the sound deadening, that stops a lot of the panel boom. This stuff stops even more of the panel rattles and panel booms, but is also a thermal barrier to stop the heat transfer through, stopping condensation if you fit it correctly. This stuff absolutely stops the majority and the speed the heat leaves the vehicle. So in the winter, it stops the heat leaving the vehicle. In the summer, it stops the heat coming into the vehicle. My philosophy on this sort of stuff is use as much as you can because it weighs next to nothing. So all these overhead ribs you've got kicking around on the van, all of them, I just jam it in every little nook and cranny up there. Some people say don't do it because they want to keep the airflow going through it. I fill them all through the tops of the barriers, just up in there, everywhere, every little nook and cranny I pack with this stuff. That stuff, you can just tear it with your hands and then stick it straight up across the roof. When it comes to these flat panels just here, I just cover them in spray glue. I'd love to show you, but I've just exploded my spray glue. I spray glue, lay a panel on there. I try and fit it so it goes right up to this metalwork all the way around as far as I can before the boarding goes on. Rip it into little pieces and jam it up in every little nook and cranny. I wonder if it's gonna be easier to clear up that glue once I've let it dry. The glue got all over me curtains, all over me seats, everywhere. God, that stuff really did proper explode. But I'll get to cleaning that a bit later when it's a bit darker and I've got nothing basically I can film. I can get through to cleaning that. So the majority at the minute is thermal lining for me. I've done the majority of the sound deadening. I'm going around thermal lining everywhere at the minute. Quick tape measure how much I need to do. Roll out the thermal liner. You've got this like hex square grid pattern on the back, so it makes it very easy to cut and stay in line so you get a nice straight cut. Stick it straight on, then get the roller, give it a good roll. Because I have proven to myself that I am not trustworthy enough with spray glue. Straight down the middle to get it just stuck into place, pull it out, and then go over it with the roller. Just to get it in all the little areas, make sure every little bit is stuck to the exterior metalwork. Now we're going off to the body shop. Now this is quite a big thing for me, and I kind of feel something might go wrong, solely because it's taken out of my control. I can't control what happens now. It's down to them. I've got a bit of work that needed to be done on the back, but because the body panel that I needed is on back order from VW, I had to wait 3 months for this appointment to actually work. But I've not heard off the garage since I booked it in, so I don't particularly know if there has been a problem or if there's not been a problem, whether my part has arrived, whether it hasn't. I know I needed a new top brake light, so I've got that behind the camera there. I've moved everything out from under the garage area in towards the middle of the van, took the better part, put that in the middle of the van. Everything is ready for him. Let's just hope he's remembered my appointment. He should have. He's come highly recommended. Wigan Accident Repair Centre. We'll see how it goes. Everything went smoothly. Dropped it off. They said they were going to start cracking on it straight away. It should take 2 or 3 days. They'll phone me when it's done. Got nothing to do. I was a bit down in the dumps. Danielle said, come on, we'll go to the shop. So we decided, you know what, let's drive straight past and just see what they're doing. And they had it in. They were doing some damage work on the side that I had done. They're still down in the dumps. House life, no van. She said, come on, let's go away for the night. Tune in next time when you can see that.